Okay, we're being recorded. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday, July 15th, the day after Bastille Day. I hope you had a chance to celebrate. Got lots to share. A lot of it is big stuff. A lot of it is system-wide stuff, and a little bit of campus stuff too. So, getting ready. Deep breath, ready to go. CARES 1 funding for students. There was a message that was sent to the campus, faculty, and staff, letting you know what was going on. That's our first wave for fall 2020. Students who are continuing students enrolled in 6 credits or more with a completed FAFSA and have registered by July 31st are guaranteed $500. If after verification they are not eligible for Title IV monies, we still will find them $500 from some other pot. So it's the guarantee is there. 6 credits, continuing, completed FAFSA by July 31st, registered, guaranteed. Once we have seen what that wave is, we will make determinations as to other waves of funding that we might make available through CARES. International students are not eligible for CARES funding, Cheryl. Sorry about that. Urgent student relief is available to international students, but I don't know where we are with the next waves of that. So Noya, when you come on, if there's anything updating the campus about the urgent student relief, then could you let us know that? Okay, going forward, if you were paying attention to your announces from UH or your UH news daily bulletins and you clicked on the report from Vice President Calbert Young, you saw that the UH institutions requested multiple positions. You saw that none of those were approved by the legislature. And you may have also seen yeah, already we know that. Thank you. Yeah, so we're hoping that some of those get restored, but we have no ways of knowing that right now. Similarly, legislature is still on the budget, but no information as to what the governor has decided. We can expect some kind of drastic measures, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We can expect that there will be furloughs and or cuts, but we don't know. Given some of the scenarios that are being discussed right now, UH might be as much as $70 million short this year. Again, we have no definitive information from the governor. He has not disclosed his decisions yet. So for us, it means that we can't really make any allocations because we don't know the numbers yet, and we probably won't know more or won't be making allocations until sometime in the middle to late August. So for those departments or units that need to spend money now when we don't know how much money we have, please go through your department chair or unit head and your administrator. Treat this as if it was the end of the fiscal year when you have to get special approval to spend. So right now, because we don't know what our allocation is going to be, please go through that chain of command to make any expenditures between now and when the allocations are made. So talk to your department chair, unit head about what you need now, talk to your administrator, and that's the level of approvals that we're going to need to go through to spend money at this moment. I also know that there are calls for folks to respond to letters about the resolution that the Board of Regents may be considering at the Board of Regents meeting tomorrow. So you can zoom in on the Board of Regents meeting. I believe there's a URL if you want to pay attention to what goes on at the board tomorrow. And there was a resolution that was part of the agenda that UPA and HGEA have really been upset by, and have asked people to sign this letter expressing those concerns about what the board is intending. I think what you can take away from that resolution is a reality check. This is how difficult the budget situation is going to be, that it might warrant these kinds of draconian measures on behalf of the university. So the board meeting tomorrow is an important meeting, and we can all be watching for the parts of the board meeting that are not going to be an executive session. Let's see. Okay, I got to backtrack on the expenditures. I got a private nudge. Just as it is at the end of the fiscal year, the approval goes up to VCAS and sometimes to me if necessary. So anybody who wants to spend money goes through department chair, unit head, to program administrator, to vice chancellor, and possibly me, depending on what it is that we need to spend money on. So it really is just to be very, very careful about spending money that we don't know we have yet. Okay, now for a bit of good news, and there is some. Our enrollment today is only 10.2% less than what it was last fall, which is, you know, we started off at the beginning of the enrollment period at 30+% down. So we are building our enrollments. Again, outreach to students, encourage them to apply, come back, tell them about CARES funding, tell them about scholarships, tell them about any ways that we can help them get here and take courses. And those courses, I gotta tell you, thank you very much to Jerry, and thank you to Nava'a for helping these changes to get done. Please don't change more. Stop. be okay with what you've done. Just to give you a sense of how the magnitude of the changes, the degree to which we have changed the landscape of offerings. So if you have a pen and pencil, you can write these numbers down. The previous fall 2020 schedule had 224 online classes, and 736 were face-to-face or hybrid. And I'm afraid I don't have the breakdown, okay? So 224 online, 736 face-to-face or hybrid. As of today, we have 553 online classes, 277 hybrid classes, and 164 face-to-face classes. So monumental changes that the faculty have done their best to accommodate students. And I think we have to be mindful that at any moment, the state might shut down again. We can't know that. And at any moment, a student in the class might need to be quarantined. Are we ready? Are we ready to accommodate that student who must be quarantined? I think we have to think about that. Okay, there's chat going on. Shannon reached out to 500 students who stopped out, and we were given my contact to inquire about returning. Oh, okay. Shannon has a calling campaign going also to call up new students, new returning students. Thank you, Shannon. I called 5. I have to tell you, my first batch of 25, I managed to call 5. I was so lame. We're also doing postcards. We're doing other things. Sheldon wants to be a sign waiver and wants some help waving signs. Be careful, don't obstruct traffic. If you guys are going to be waving signs, don't be goofy and take people to be distracted from their driving. Shannon needs help. Sheldon needs help. People with SH at the beginning of their names need help, it seems. Cheryl, do you need help? Okay, Michelle has a sh in the middle of her name. She might need help too. But she's at King Kalakaua Beach Hotel. Okay, that's it for me. Do you have questions? What questions might you have? What did I not make clear about the stuff that I've shared with you guys? Anything you want to ask? I don't know if you guys see Sheldon. He's wearing his vintage Tower Records shirt. Has UHKCC altered mandatory physical presence for students based on this? No, we have not altered our mandatory physical presence. It just gives international students more options. If they can make it to us, they don't have to be physically present. They can take 100% online. And so far, from what I've been told today, we have 491 international students hoping to be here in the fall. Sheldon, you want to tell them about sign waving?
Sure. It was a total last minute out of the box idea to just encourage students that we are indeed having classes in the fall. It was discussed in a student affairs meeting that even with some of the outreach that's happening, there's still some reluctance about starting classes in the fall. I've been getting emails asking if we are open, like if we're still going to be running classes. And so the thought was just to kind of be out there, showing that we are going to be running classes in the fall. And so in a combination with the July 31st date, we thought, okay, let's just put ourselves out there, signs saying register now, which we actually have. And thank you to FYE and student activities. They're going to make signs, and so signs will be available. And so we're just going to be hopefully in the 4 corners of the campus, just for a couple of hours, just showing that, you know, we are moving forward with fall, and to encourage those who may be on the fence to either submit an application or start registering for classes. And good to go. We're just asking for folks to maybe wear, you know, their KCC gear, face mask, of course, and to bring their positive energy. So that's pretty much it.
Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Thank you. I'm sorry, Sheldon.
It's quite all right.
It's 33 1/3 was the revolutions for the 33s, not just 33, just because I remember those things, right? Okay, so there are questions about, and I didn't put it on my list, the bubble quarantine. So you probably saw or read that President Lassner is hoping to have some special quarantine for students who are returning from the mainland or elsewhere, where they would be able, or they would get a 72-hour prior to departure COVID test, and if they were negative, they could come to the state and they could be absolved of quarantine, of mandatory 14-day quarantine, only for the purpose of attending UH activities. So they would be required to be self-quarantined, but they would be allowed to come out and attend UH activities. Might be orientation, might be classes, depending on the timing of things. So that's still in negotiation. It's not a done deal yet. So the question from Cheryl about, are there any initiatives to help students access COVID testing? None that I'm aware of. None that I'm aware of. community college students would be covered by this bubble quarantine if it is in fact implemented. We're not, as what I heard this morning was that it is not absolutely set to go yet. It is still being considered by the Office of the General Counsel. Let's see, wait. I'm going backwards. So Shannon asked about what are we going to do if students need to be quarantined? I think it's the same thing as what we need to do if students are quarantined in the middle of the semester. We have to make allowances for getting learning to them in whatever ways we can. This morning we had an email exchange about exactly that. Not only is there testing that's problematic and possible mandatory quarantine when they get here, it is the fact that airlines have very limited flights. So students don't have too many options if they're coming from Japan. They may be forced to be here late because the flights are so limited. Academic Affairs is going to be working with HIC, and HIC doesn't know this yet because it just happened this morning, but we're going to try to get together and get a better idea of who might be coming late so that we might better prepare the faculty for the classes, in the classes that the students might be taking. So we have to have a conversation with HIC about how to help those students. Let's see. Cheryl just talked to a student, $500. We just wish we were all UH Maui College. They have a health center on their campus and they can do all these things themselves, but we can't. Is it possible to take down the signs that says we're not closed, that we're close to the public? No. We are close to the public. It's unfriendly, and I'm sorry, but that's the university policy. So we're open to students, we're open to potential students, we're open to people who have business on the campus, but we are not open for public gatherings. We're not open for public. I'm sorry, Sally. It sounds risky to the campus to allow students onto campus without completing the 14-day quarantine. If they have a negative test, it's not so risky, but otherwise, yes. We would expect that students would quarantine anyway for 14 days. But if they have a negative test, that was what Governor Ige was proposing would happen to all of the international visitors, was a negative test and not 14 days. Other questions? Did I miss anybody? What do counselors, academic advisors need to know now when advising international students about their schedules? I think they just need to know and make sure that whatever online classes that they're taking are fulfilling the requirements of their degrees. Because CVIS does not want people taking any kind classes. They need to be taking classes that are forward progress in their degrees. What about the new court ruling? The new court ruling seems to suggest that they are not limited in the number of online classes that they take, but they are still required to be online classes that are in their curriculum, in their pathway, as far as I know. Unless HIC, anybody want to jump in? I don't know, is Sean on the call? Let's see. Sean or Joe or?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, Louise. I have Sai here. We're trying to deal with this.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I don't see that Sean's on. So the question is, have we changed any of our guidance to the international students now that we've had this rescission of the order from CVIS?
This is Eugene from Honda International Center.
Hi, Eugene.
Hi, I sorry everyone for all of this craziness, and I did contact as Civis, not as CVP, but according to the Civis, the fall guidance that government released is rescinded. So, and they said we can follow our spring guidance that we submitted. However, we also submitted fall guidance that we requested back in May. But then the spring one, the guidance we submitted, that's according to one of the options that they provided, which was when if school is closed, but we are open to the students. So I want to clarify that with our DSOs. We're gonna discuss tomorrow how we're gonna maybe, because it's a really important decision to make so we don't lose our service access. Once we lose service access, we either have to terminate all the students or transfer them out. So I kind of want to be careful for making any decisions yet, but we're gonna have discussion tomorrow.
Okay, and you will update the campus when you've had your conversations.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions about those things before I turn it over to some of the administrators who have updates? Joe, you're muted if you wanted to speak.
No, that's fine. I'm talking to two different people at the same time.
I saw your lips move, that's why.
I
Okay,
know.
okay.
We'll talk
All
to you
right,
next time.
okay. I won't look at you in that top left corner. When will a list be published detailing all the lost positions? Well, maybe if you could, that yelling. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know when we will get finalized lists, but what you can know for now is that every single vacancy that we had is now gone. So all positions that were vacant were taken, or at least vacant as of spring, I think. So if somebody retired in the last 2 days, the legislature didn't get that one because it just happened. But
Yeah.
all other vacancies.
Louise,
Yes, Lisa?
that was my question, because as you know, I've had a resignation and a retirement within the last couple of months, so didn't know if those position numbers were lumped with everybody else. I
No.
like the fact that you're shaking your head. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Vacancies that have happened in the last month or so, or a couple of months, were not included on the list that was sent to the legislature. Positions that are actively being recruited, yes, they are vacant, and so were taken. Yep. Other questions? Okay, I turn it over to the three administrators who said they had updates for people. Lisa, Noel, and Maria, in that order. Lisa.
Good afternoon, everyone. Some more good news. We received our Perkins grant and we'll be able to purchase a lot of PPE. All the health programs had put together their wish lists and that was approved. So I'm working with our shared services partners and securing the funds so that we can get that order on campus, and then the department chairs and I will be dispersing that where it needs to go. We're also working with the Department of Geriatric Medicine. They're going to be providing some modules for our programs to insert in their patient care courses or wherever it's appropriate, related to dementia care, memory care, those types of things, so that our students are better prepared to work in the field with those patients with those challenges. We already have some great content, and this will just be additional content that programs can kind of pick and choose and add as they need to in their programs. We're also working with the Department of Education. Prior prior to me arriving years ago, there used to be some training for the student health, excuse me, school health assistants. Each of the schools in our K-12 system, they do not have a school nurse, but they would have a school health assistant. And that training was done several years ago. And of course, with all the changes that are going on now, we're working with the Department of Education again to provide that training. That'll be updated, and that's to come in the future months, so that the people who are working directly with our children in the schools in those health rooms are better prepared to care for them and to assess students to the scope that they're trained, that is, because again, these folks have no special training other than what we will give them. And then also, just so some of you are aware, our programs that are selective enrollment, we have so many wonderful students that apply and are qualified, but we simply do not have enough seats for these students, and they're excellent students. When I first arrived, we did some research and found out that typically we lose those students. They go elsewhere. They don't even stay even within the UH system. We just simply lose them. So we're going to be, I'm working with Noe Yao and his team. We're taking the lists of those students who unfortunately weren't able to earn a seat, and we're going to do a calling campaign to each of them to see if by chance they're interested in other programs outside of health, or if they're interested in the health courses and training that we have through our non-credit side of the house, but just some way that we can try to retain these students with the understanding that some of them will choose to repeat courses and apply again next year. So I just want to make you aware that we do have some efforts underway to try to retain those students, because they've already proven themselves. We just simply didn't have enough seats for them. And that's my update. Thanks everyone for all you're doing.
Thanks, Lisa. Any questions for Lisa on that? Okay, Noel.
So a couple of quick updates. I know there are some questions from last week's meeting about the mask usage for students not complying with the mask, with social distancing or PPE, not mask wearing. I have a meeting on Friday with the CASAL group to finalize some of these details. And then I think I'm working with Maria and her group to create a bunch of scenarios in terms of how this issue might come up and how faculty can deal with the issue. That way there's clear guidelines as to what needs to take place and all that. We should have that ready hopefully sometime next week, but hopefully that'll answer most of the questions around students not complying with either social distancing or the mask wearing. A follow-up update to the CARES funding. I posted in the chat box earlier the message that was sent to students in a PDF, and then I also sent it to the CAC listserv. But just to repeat on what Louise was sharing, and then I'll try to answer some questions that already came in about that. So CARES funding this round, basically students who were enrolled in the spring semester and now enrolling in fall semester, 6 credits or more, and have submitted a FAFSA by July 31st will be awarded $500, right? So basically it's an automatic award, whether or not they're Title IV eligible. And basically there's separate funds that we're using to award this money. The next question I think logically is, what about students who weren't enrolled in the spring that is now registering in the fall, or maybe the students enrolled in the summer and now coming in the fall? There's going to be another conversation about the next round of disbursement, hopefully one where we have a lot more freedom and flexibility to award as a campus that we'll most likely use to award these students. I'm going to say this award won't take place probably within the first half of the semester, probably the later half. But that's what we know for now. So I think for the message that the faculty and staff got, if you have students, really any students, whether or not they have been enrolled in the spring, please have them fill out the FAFSA, whether or not they're eligible, because this is going to be the one, I guess, qualifying requirement that will make them eligible for CARES or not. And if they have questions about FAFSA, they can email, sorry, I don't know the email address for the financial aid. I was going to say CAPinfo, but that's the wrong one. But if somebody's on here, sorry, capfao@hawaii.edu, the students can get help with filing the FAFSA. But that is it for the CARES. So the email has gone out to the students I'm still trying to get some clarifying details as to what exactly it all means, because there's some things that we still ask, like what if the student doesn't disenrolls before the semester starts? Can they keep their money? Does submitting their FAFSA mean submit it online through FAFSA, or does it mean that our college receives the FAFSA? Two completely different things, which has a timeline of 2 weeks, depending on what time of the year it is. So I'm gonna get some clarification on that and provide an update. The other one, so as Angela mentioned, international students are not eligible for CARES funding. Louise did mention the urgent student relief funds. As of last week, we no longer have money in this account to award. So these funds are not available for the summer. If something does open it up, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be for the fall semester, and I will alert the campus once it opens up again. But currently, urgent student relief funds, we are not awarding because we've exhausted all the funds for that. Oh, that was a lot. Questions?
Sorry, real fast. So could that announcement then be taken off our homepage, because that's still up there saying that the urgent student relief fund is there?
Got it. I'll work with Joanne and Raf to get that off.
Awesome.
Yes. I think to answer your question, Cheryl, there is confusion because the CARES and the urgent student relief goes together. The problem is it's all from a system level. So for example, our college don't have any money for urgent student relief, but other campuses have a little bit more money left. So because this is a system effort, that's where a lot of the confusion ends up. And that's where a lot of the questions do come up. So it's something I can't really control because it's coming from the system and everybody has their own set. Other questions while I try to look through this chat box?
I didn't see anything. No questions. Other questions for Noel now? Okay, Maria?
Okay. Yeah, as Luis announced earlier, the fall schedule is done. Okay, please do not make any changes anymore. I'm gonna report this to the VCAA meeting later today. Another thing that came up was the final exam schedule for fall 2020. So I asked Susan Pope to generate that schedule, because some faculty might need it for their syllabus when they prepare it. So she has it, and if you really need it right away, just email her, spope@hawaii.edu, and it's going to be posted on our website, but hopefully it can be up as soon as you need it. But if you really need it now, just let her know. Another thing that I'd like to bring up is the face shields. I have all of them for faculty and staff. So if you have your unit, please send me the names of those who will need it. And you can pick it up from me when I'm on campus. But please let me know as soon as possible how many we will need, because if we don't have enough, then I can ask Brian to get us some more. We only have, I think, 300 face shields, and people have been asking for it already. So just send me a list. You don't have to pick it up, anytime soon, but I just want to know if we have enough to give everybody at least one. And
Maria?
I'm done. Yes.
Maria, real quick, which face shield is it? Is it the one that Brian showed us last week, or is it the one with the like these are the glasses one, which really works well for those of us who wear glasses all the time? Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Lisa Radek showed me. Okay, thank you so much.
That's the one. Yeah.
Maria, there's a question from Hal that says, before we can schedule final exams, we need to know about proctoring availability.
Okay, the library is not going to be available to proctor your final exams. So you have to proctor your final exams. So I am looking for spaces on campus that are big enough so that you could use it, but we will have to organize this so that it's, I already know that Olapa, there are 2 rooms in Olapa that we can use, but we have to organize it so that you're not all giving your exams at one time. Okay, so it's like You have to sign up for the room is what's going to happen. I think the cafeteria can also be used. I'll find out more about that one. And I was looking too at the OHIA 118, the auditorium. Maybe that too is going to be available. So I'm looking for rooms that would accommodate more than 30 people at least, so that you could give your exams in those rooms. But you have to proctor them. The library cannot accommodate all of your students for finals.
Thanks, Maria.
Anything else? Any computer rooms?
Or the proctoring, Maria.
Oh, for the proctoring. Our computer rooms do not have enough computers for 20 students, I think, with social distancing. I'll look around. Maybe we can have 2 adjacent rooms that have computers, and maybe that can accommodate your 20 students if you only have 20. But I don't think we have more than, we can accommodate 30 or 35 in computer rooms. Okay, any other questions?
I just wanted to say something about proctoring. You know, our nursing faculty is very paranoid about our test integrity. So it was very, very difficult for us to, you know, give someone else control over that experience. But we did work with Proctorio within a program we already subscribed to, which is ATI, which is also in a computerized testing format. And they were able to work out a deal of just $5 per test per student. I know that originally, you know, the price had gone up, but you may want to revisit this. I know it's very hard to let go of that control over being able to see, but we've also had where we have students doing exams on computers at home, and we have their cell phones set up so that they can, you know, view their screen. So we've been able to, you know, come up with some very creative ways of ensuring test integrity, and we really haven't seen a difference in the outcomes of the students, whether they were proctored or not. So I know everybody wants to get their you know, students together on campus to do that, but you can do it other ways. I know that, you know, certain tease testing or certain really, you know, really out of your hand kind of testing situations is different, but for your own classroom, you can do this via Zoom. So I just challenge the professors to, yeah, sort of let go and be trusting. And anyway, that's just what we found successful in nursing. Thank you.
Trusting with multiple cameras.
Yep. And it works. You know, most students are very afraid of being, you know, called out or failing in any of, and that's a real big thing. Any, you know, possibility of you cheating, you're absolute failure, period. So they're used to, you know, being in a testing environment where they can't have access to anything. And it's worked pretty well so far. So we're going to continue that during the fall. We will only have students come on campus for face-to-face lab and demonstration and testing of skills. That's it. Otherwise, everything is going to be via Zoom and Proctorio for testing.
Thank you, Lisa. And Jamie's just added a URL to help us think through other ways of maintaining integrity. Maria?
Lisa, can you send me the contact information for Proctorio? Are you working with a certain person there?
Yes, I am. And
Okay.
we've had a long relationship with this ATI, Assessment Technologies Incorporated, and it's specifically for our nursing testing for each course. So perhaps they gave us a deal based on our long-standing history with them, but you know, we're a campus. We should be able to negotiate. If we're going to have 10,000 tests, then maybe we can do some wheeling and dealing. But I'll provide you with the rep that I've been working with. She's been very, very helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa and Maria. Other questions for any of the administration team? Anything on your mind that you wonder, that you wish, that you worry about?
I have some stuff about the union if we are going to be moving on to that part of the conversation.
If you want us there, take us there.
All righty. I was a little bit late because I was at a union meeting, so I missed the front part of the meeting where I understand this was discussed, but frankly, we have some good news. House Bill 2200 has passed the legislature and has become law without the governor's signature. This is the bill that gives us our 2% increases that were previously negotiated and will start on July 1st for the 11 months and August 1st for the 9-monthers. The one that is still up in the air is the 1.2. This was the reopener. This was supposed to have been a minimum of 1.2% in January. The reason it's called a reopener is because we could have reopened it and gotten more, but we were guaranteed at least a base of 1.2. This is the one that is still in a different bill. I think it's Senate Bill or House Bill 785, and this is the one that's the subject of the Board of Regents letter, which I understand was discussed at the beginning of this meeting. So, you know, in one sense, yay, we got 2%. In another sense, you know, our previously negotiated minimum of 1.2 is the one that is still in jeopardy. For people who are UPA faculty reps, you were sent an email letter to your personal, not your UH accounts. And you should look there for more detail. I'm just gonna cut and paste some stuff in the, sometimes I have trouble cutting and pasting, and perhaps Jamie can help me fix that. Where the agenda is, where you can submit testimony. It's a little late to be submitting written testimony, but you can still do it. And it is not too late if you want to submit oral testimony. The deadline there is 8 a.m. Sorry, I have my little Post-its. Let me make sure I've read everything. There is a petition going around from a group called the ALU. Please note that you may sign it, you may do anything you like, but it is not affiliated with UHPA. Its terms were not run by UHPA, and UHPA does not endorse this petition because it gets involved in issues that are not relevant to the Board of Regents meetings, such as the rainy day fund. That's with the governor. So feel free to sign what you like, but don't feel compelled to sign the ALU one. If you want to submit testimony to the Board of Regents, doing it with your own words and your own voice is best. And I'm going to stop now.
Thank you, Susan. Anyone else have things to share?
I just think just to add to what Susan's saying, you know, I didn't submit anything without the Senate's approval to do so. This is Candy, by the way. But even if, I know a lot of us, we want to donate, you know, like we want to do something to help. But in the manner that this is coming, it really circumvents the process. And the process is so important. And I just wanted to say that.
Okay, thanks, Candy. Other thoughts? Okay, hearing none. I wish you all a great end of the week. Stay well, stay healthy, take care of yourself, take care of those around you, be kind, be compassionate, and make sure you contact all those people whose names begin with Sh. Shannon needs volunteers. Sheldon needs sign waivers. Any other Shs? Okay. I appreciate all of you being here. I counted up to, well, I didn't count. The number was 151 people at the max. So that's 151 people who are engaged in this campus. No, Shangela, you're not going to get help. Sorry. Shared services is a okay, well, somebody can make a list of all the shs that need help. For now, it's really Shannon and Sheldon. Please do contact them to help. And tomorrow we'll be doing a Zoom meeting for parents and students, one in the morning and one in the evening. So we're all trying our best to encourage students to come to campus and be involved in education and learning for themselves and their families and communities. So thanks to all of you for being here, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday. Pay attention to email, lots of important information. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Amy.
Louise,
Uh,
can I ask a quick question from you?
Me in particular, you want to wait till everybody else is gone?
No, it's okay. I could have made this announcement earlier, but I will say that our nursing department is getting inundated with students calling, new students calling, asking questions. So I'm just wondering if there is an effort from every department. Do you have someone back in your office answering those phones? Because these really are our potential students, freshmen, very brand new students who just are looking for information. And while the web is helpful, they want to talk to somebody, like everybody else wants to just confirm. So I know that sometimes we get busy and the phone rings and then it goes to answering machine. So I'm just wondering if everybody that, if other offices are back on campus. I mean, it looks like it. Today I saw a record number of cars in the parking lot. So I'm thinking that people are coming back to campus, but I'm just hoping we're not losing those ones, or even families and parents that are literally reaching out to see, where they can go. So I think we have the potential to increase enrollment if we just handle those calls with very kid gloves and much concern. So.
Right. I think that's key. I agree.
Okay. Thanks. I just wanted to share that that's happening right now. Our secretaries are busy answering brand new student inquiries about not just about nursing, because they're pre-nursing, so they're just wanting to make sure that we're going to be open and be able to service them.
Okay. All right, you guys.
Thank you.
Have some lunch.
Yep.